My name is Keith Lowell Jensen, and I write autobiographical fan fiction. Cool, glad we have some fans of this genre. Thank you for coming out. I want to get to know you before we get started. I have a question for you by sound of applause. I want to know by sound of applause who here in this audience tonight has been arrested before. Oh, damn, Sacramento. I think you beat Chico. That was amazing. I like you in the back raising your hand. We said sound of applause, but now we know what you got arrested for. You have a problem with directions, don't you? Doesn't come easy for you. All right, by sound of applause, who here has never been arrested? All right. So this is a problem because I see a lot of white dudes clapping. Come on, white dudes, how you living? Get arrested. I see some people of color, some women, some LGBTQ people that have never been arrested, and I understand. Okay, you wouldn't want to tangle with the police. But we're white dudes. We're gonna have a fun night, and then the courts are gonna go easy on us. Live a little. Go get arrested. And it's hard to get arrested as a white dude. It takes a lot of mouthing off. And all that time that you're mouthing off to the cop, you're keeping them busy and they're not out harassing brown people. Let's do it. Let's use our privilege. Let's gentrify jail. But I like to have something for my whole audience. Okay, I was going to tell stories about times I've been arrested, but some of you haven't had that experience yet. I hope I've inspired you and you'll go out and try. So I'm going to also tell stories about times when I haven't been arrested. We all know those nights when you don't get arrested. I think we've all had one of those, we can relate. The first time I remember specifically not getting arrested, I was 15. And I shoplifted marshmallows. Marshmallows are not an easy thing to shoplift to begin with. They're a big, pillow-sized white thing. Harder in my case because I was wearing a tiny little leather jacket that I inherited from my grandfather. I thought it looked cool. I thought it made me look like one of the Ramones. Spoiler alert, it did not make me look like one of the Ramones. But it did make it very hard to steal marshmallows. You may be thinking to yourself, Keith, why? Why would you try to steal a big pillow-sized sugary confection wearing a tiny little jacket? It's because I was arrogant. I was overly confident of my ability to steal from that Bel Air. Because I stole from them every single Sunday. For months, I went in there and I stole donuts. And it was easy. You just walk up to the donut counter and you say, hey, I would like a dozen donuts. And then you pick out each of the dozen donuts. And some kid puts them in a bright pink box for you. And then he gives you a free one. Because that's a policy. When you steal 12 donuts from a place, they give you a 13th one free. Call it a stealer's dozen or something, I don't know. But then the kid will close up the box and they'll say to you, you want me to ring you up here or take it to the register? And I go, I better take it to the register, you know. Whenever I tell my mom I'm coming here, out comes the list. You know how it is, buddy. You gotta make the small talk. And they just hand you the donuts, assuming you're gonna go pay for them, because how brazen would you have to be to make a kid box up the donuts that you're stealing from them in a bright pink box? And then you take it and you walk right past all the registers and they all look at you. All the cashiers look at you. You say hi to them. They know you. They see you every Sunday. Like, what's up, Tom? How's the wife? And they assume you paid for them, because how brazen would you have to be to have some kid box up a dozen donuts that you're stealing from them? It's a free tip from you on how to get free donuts. Then you take them to your friend Jim's house and his parents think you're the sweetest kid around, because you bring donuts every Sunday when you come over to play his Nintendo. worked out well for everybody. So I'm arrogant, I get the marshmallows on this occasion. I might have had a problem with sugar. I get the marshmallows in my little jacket, they're sticking halfway out, and I start making my way towards the door. And I see the undercover security. And he's standing at the door blocking it, which is insulting. Because that's not normally what they do. Normally they want to catch you. So they just hang out by the door looking nonchalant. If you ever see an adult man paying way too much attention to those little quarter machines with the stretchy hands, that's undercover security, waiting for someone to try to leave. Because you haven't stolen until you leave, okay? There's no crime against putting stuff in your pocket. The crime is only when you walk out the door. This is handy information. The next time you go shopping, wear something with a lot of pockets. It's fun. And as you walk around, you just put everything from your list in one of the pockets. And then you go up to the register. And as you start unloading that on the thing, you'll hear like 6 different voices go, "Damn it!" It's just wasted a whole line of undercover security's time. And you kept them busy while people that needed to shoplift are able to ply their trade. Again, we can be helpers. But in this case, the guy's blocking the door, and he looks me right in the eye, and he shakes his head no, because he doesn't want to be the guy that busts this special little kid that's trying to steal marshmallows while wearing a tiny little jacket. He's like, no. But I've got momentum. So I walk right around him, and I go out the other door. And I hear him go, "Ugh!" And he comes out, and he grabs me, and he pulls me in, takes the marshmallows from me, and they bring me back to the manager's office. I don't know if you've ever seen a grocery store manager's office, but there are no windows. It's a very depressing place. The manager comes in wearing a suit that I'm sure fit him at one time. As he comes in, he says, "Listen, kid, we're going to do you a favor. We're not going to call the police." And I stand up and say, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, sir. I'm never going to do it again. I'm going to stop stealing donuts, too." "What?" "No, nothing. I didn't say anything." He says, "Yeah, we're not going to call the cops, but we are going to call your parents." So I said, "Is the cop thing still on the table? Could we talk about this? Because my mom is going to be very disappointed." I had one of those Catholic moms. Yeah, but I hear that about every mom. You're like, "Oh, Irish moms, Mexican moms." I think maybe just all moms are good at guilting. Maybe that's not a cultural signifier. Maybe there's one cultural group out there that their moms aren't good at guilting. Maybe it's the Norwegians. Maybe that's why they like that black metal. I don't know. But my mom she was very good at guilting. So the manager calls my mom. All the employees are taking turns peeking in the office. They're like, "That's the kid, that's the marshmallow guy." They're like, "Yeah, that's him." I'm like, "His jacket's so tiny." Manager walks me out front to wait for my mom. She pulls up in the white van. He puts me in the van. My mom says, "Thank you." She's humiliated. We drive home in silence. That's when I know I'm in trouble, because she's not going to let me have it. She's going to wait and let Dad let me have it. And I'm of a generation that meant I was going to get beat. We got beat. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's just what happened. I hate when members of my generation try to use that as an excuse for hitting their kids. Like, "We got hit, remember? We got hit. You got to hit your kid. We got hit." And then I have to explain to them that we are not what I'm aiming for. At all. Never looked at us and went, "Ah, that went pretty good. Let's do that again." Never look around the world and go, "We better not change anything. This is going so well. Just stay the course." And I felt for my father, too. I felt bad for my dad, because the guy worked 8 hours a day. He had up to a 2-hour commute both ways. He comes home, he just wants to go in the nice living room where the kids aren't allowed and read his Stephen King, And no, there's mom waiting with a shopping list of boys he has to beat, He comes home, she tells him about the marshmallows. I hear him coming to my room. I'm like, "Oh." My dad opens the door and he says 2 words. That's not true, he says 1 word, but he says it twice. He says, marshmallows? Marshmallows. His heavy Brooklyn accent. See, my mom was more concerned about the morality of these things, but my father was always much more concerned about the stupidity. My dad says to me, Keith, marshmallows have no resale value. Jewelry, I'd understand. Money, I would understand. Marshmallows? I was like, sorry, Dad, I'll do better next time. That's not what I'm saying! And you know it. That's when I started laughing. Not because of my hilarious joke, but because I am a nervous laugher. I've always been a nervous laugher. I laugh when there's confrontation. It's gotten me into trouble, it's gotten me out of trouble. Luckily, my dad was cool. When he heard me laugh, he would say, I know that you're just laughing because you're nervous, and you should be, because you're in deep doo-doo. And he would just go on with the scolding. My dad's sitting there trying to figure out why his supposedly gifted 15-year-old is so stupid. And that's when he looks at my bed, and he sees something that catches his eye, and he looks back at me and he goes, tell me you weren't wearing the little jacket. Oh my God, you were wearing the little jacket. He was wearing the little jacket. Now I've got to answer him. I've got to give him an explanation why I did something so stupid. And I said, Dad, it was a dare. He said, what? I said, it was a dare. We were playing truth or dare. That's why the little jacket. That's why marshmallows. It was intentionally something very difficult. That's how dares work. To which my dad said, that's stupid. But he said, that's stupid with a little hint of that's an acceptable 15-year-old level of stupid. And I knew that he was okay with it. And he said, we'll talk about this more later, which always meant that we wouldn't talk about it more later. And he shut the door. And to this day, I've never admitted to my father that there was no dare. No, there were just two 15-year-old boys who had a really bad case of the munchies and decided they absolutely must have Rice Krispie treats. And you see, Jim had the Rice Krispies. All right, I'll tell you about one more time I was not arrested. A little bit later, I was 16, and I had a friend named Andy who was 30. You guys got real judgmental real quick. And I understand, because that's exactly how my dad felt. I was like, Dad, Andy's cool. He's got a lot of hip-hop records. My dad was like, Andy's not cool. Andy is the Fonz. And I went, oh my God, you just named the coolest person in the world. And he said, no, you just think that because you're young. The Fonzie is a dude that puts on a leather jacket and hangs out with teenagers. That's not a cool adult. Cool adults hang out with other adults. I was like, you don't know anything. I went to Andy's house, and Andy let me have a beer. And me and Ryan drank beer, and Andy played Too Short, and it was cool. And then I started to notice that Andy was having an episode, or he was on something. He was acting very weird. And then the downstairs neighbor knocked on Andy's floor, which was his ceiling. I don't know if you know this, but one man's ceiling is another man's floor. When we hear the knocking, I said, Andy, I think he wants you to turn down the Too Short. And Andy goes, no. He's cool, I'll go talk to him. And I was like, Andy, I don't think you're in a state to go talk to him. And Andy goes, I'll go talk to him, it'll be fine. And he walks downstairs, and me and Ryan are like, oh, I wonder how this is gonna work out. And then we hear yelling. And then we hear a tussle. And then Andy comes running back in the apartment with his hair disheveled, his shirt is torn. And Andy yells, I'm gonna stab a fool! And he runs to his kitchen, and he pulls open the knife drawer, and he yanks out a knife. Problem is, Andy didn't have a stab a fool knife. Andy had a very long, serrated, slice some bread knife. Andy had a, I'm gonna slice up a fool. I'm gonna kill a fool very messily kind of knife. And he ran back out the door, and I turned to Ryan and I said, I don't know what to do. And Ryan said, we should leave. And I said, we can't go home, we drank a beer. And Ryan says, we'll go to the gas station, because that's what teenagers did then. So we go to leave, and then we hear the sirens coming down the street. We jump back in the apartment. Oh no, the cops are coming. They're gonna know we had a beer. So we don't know what to do. Andy's still downstairs, the cops are on the way, we're trapped in the apartment, and then the guest room door opens. The guest room door had never opened. We didn't know that Andy had a roommate. And this guy that looked like he had been asleep in there since 1969, like Hip Van Winkle, comes walking out, and he sees me and Ryan, and he goes, you, come with me. And he walks back in the room, and Ryan and I followed a barefooted adult into his bedroom because it felt like the safest course of action at the time. He shuts the door. That wasn't comforting. And then we look, and he has all these guitars on his wall. And he takes one down, and he hands it to Ryan. He takes another one down, and he hands it to me. And then he takes down a third one, and he pulls up a stool. I was like, he has a stool in his room. I started to realize this room was like his gig. Like, he had a residency there, you know? It's where he played every night. And he strums the guitar. Now, I'm not a great singer, but the song that he sang went something like this. We don't know nothing about that noise out there. We're just in here having a guitar lesson. And just then the door opened, and there was a cop. Yeah, the most terrifying thing a 16-year-old who just had a beer could possibly see. He's standing there with a badge and the gun and the whole thing. And he says, what's going on in here? And the hippie looks up at him and says, we don't know nothing about that noise out there. And then me and Ryan sang the chorus, we're just in here having a guitar lesson. Perfectly synchronized. Caught the cop's attention, he looks over at us, and we're both holding guitars. We have no idea how to hold a guitar. But that made sense. That's why we were getting the lesson. Cop looks back at the hippie who shrugs, you know, like, kids, right? Cop says, all right, you guys have a good night, and he shuts the door. But then the hippie looks at both of us, and I'm thinking, oh no, it's time to pay the piper. And he says, both of you. And he twists his hand into this weird, uncomfortable looking claw. And he says, that's an A chord. So I did eventually actually get arrested, all right? I love that there's applause for that. That's great. First time I got arrested was surprisingly consensual. I got arrested protesting a war. I don't even remember which one at this point. Who can keep track, right? But I was protesting one of them out there doing the thing, and we did a die-in, which means we all went down to the federal building, and we all laid down and pretended we were dead. And when the cops came in, they said, okay, we're going to start arresting you in 4 minutes. And a few people that were like, I got to work tomorrow, got up and left, you know. But then the cops came up to each of us, and they were like, we're going to arrest you. Is that, you know, are you accepting that, or do you want to leave? Which was very polite. I thought, you know, the whole thing was very civil. And I said, no, I'm here to be arrested. And they were like, all right, let's do it. And this was all in front of news cameras. And 2 cops very gently picked me up. One had me under the knees, and one had me under the armpits. And they gently lifted me up in front of the news cameras, and then in front of the news cameras, they walked me into the federal building where there were no news cameras. Then they picked me up and dropped me on my back. Said, get over there with the rest of the hippies. All the politeness was gone, but it was the best arrest ever. And it may have been what started my life of getting arrested, because I was like, this is fun. They didn't search us or book us. They just stuck us all in a cell. I was in a cell with priests. I was in a cell with grandmothers for peace. There were hippies and punk rockers. We were having a good time. 2 guys rolled up a joint and started smoking a joint in the jail cell. And everyone looks at the priest, and he's like, I'll take care of this, you know. So he walks up to them, and he says, boys, and he turns his Irish accent up to 10, you know, to try to be that priest, you know. And he says, boys, are you sure this is a good idea? And they said, oh, Father, please understand, we have a list of all the unusual places we've smoked pot, and we didn't think that a jail cell was ever going to be a space on our bingo card that we would get to fill. They usually take this away from you, And to my amazement, the priest goes, I understand. I'll never know for sure, but I swear for a minute he considered maybe asking for a puff. Like his life could have changed that day. She's like, they taught me things, those anti-war protesting hippies. They taught me stuff like how to walk. You know, when you're walking in a protest, they told me keep your feet low to the ground. Keep your hands at your side. Don't run, don't yell, don't jump around. Don't give the cops any excuse to hit you with a nightstick and say that you were acting in a threatening manner. They'd all been hit with nightsticks. They learned these lessons. They told me how to do it. The next protest that I was in was a gay rights protest. Nobody told the gays how you're supposed to protest. It was a very different experience. I'm there like feet down, hands at my side, walking right, and they had feather boas and whistles and they're dancing. They were having a rave, essentially a rave for, there were people on stilts. I was like, the cops don't like that. You step like right over their horses, you know? It was amazing. They had the best chants. They were chanting, we're here, we're queer, we're not going shopping. I was like, that's good. I wish I wrote that. That is fantastic. It was a good time, you know? But the problem is that the cops in Sacramento at that time had gotten smart and they would just slap a parade permit on you and then take all the teeth out of your protest, start blocking streets for you, being like, hey, it's a parade. You know? Pride came early. You're like, no, we want to disrupt, because the whole idea is to disrupt. So then the thing came, go on the freeway. That's how that started happening. You had to go up on the freeway to actually make an impression, you know? So they head towards the freeway. But again, everyone's jumping around and dancing and having a good time. And the riot cops sweep in and they stop everybody, but I'm walking like this and I kind of accidentally slip right through them. I'm more and more by myself on this freeway off-ramp, and then I stop and I look around and they're like yards behind me. I see the back of the riot cops with their shields on the other side. They don't like you there. And I think I better get out of here. And then a motorcycle comes rolling down, and this big cop gets off the motorcycle and he says, get off the off-ramp. And I said, yes, sir. And I did the walking thing. I was trained to walk, and he says, run. And I was like, well, the hippies actually told me not to, that I should. And he shoved me and he said, run. And the hippies were right, because the minute I started running, he grabbed me and he beat the crap out of me. Yeah, this story got ugly, huh? He stepped on my face, he blooded me up, he was choking me, and he told me I was gonna die. And that's when a female cop pulled him off of me, helped me up, and then walked me straight to a newspaper reporter. I was like, I don't really get whose side you're on. This is very weird. The newspaper reporter says, what's your name? I said, my name. She said, you're gay, right? Not are you gay? You're gay, right? I was like, I'm used to that. No, actually, I'm not. She laughed. Ha! It's a good one. And then they took me away. They took me away to jail. In jail, the guy was all, what's your name? And I remembered that protesters had done this at another protest, so I said, Harvey Milk. And he said, Harvey Milk, the slain civil rights activist. And I was like, who are you? What cop would know who Harvey Milk is and say it that way? You know? I was like, you might be all right. Here's my actual name. He says, you're gay, right? And I was like, what? No, I'm not. Why are you asking? He said, because if you're gay, we'll put you in a pink jumpsuit to keep you safe. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. You guys really thought this one through. No, if I may keep my regular clothes, some people would say they say enough already. Should go ahead and put me in the cell there. They put me in the cell. I see an interesting looking guy on the bench. I go sit down. His name is Paul. Paul says, you one of those weirdos up on the freeway? For a minute, I didn't want to admit that I was. And then I was like, no, I'm not going to be ashamed of myself. I said, yes, Paul, that was me. We're protesting for gay rights. And Paul goes, you going to save the world? I was like, I don't know, Paul, I'm going to try. What's your story? And Paul says, well, I'm just being transferred from one prison to another. But you guys blocked the freeway, so I got to spend the night here. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, dude. And he's like, no, it's cool. I like a little change of scenery. Person gets real boring. He's like, it's nice to have a little diversion. And just then, these two skinny white kids, a full Beavis and Butthead, get put in the cell. They'd been in a fist fight with one another and gotten arrested. They put them in, they right away see me as the easy target, and they walk over and they go, get up, we want to sit there. And Paul jumps up and goes, you sit down on your shoes now! And both kids rip their shoes off, throw them on the ground, sit on them. I was like, Paul, that was amazing. I don't know what this means about us now, if I'm in your gang or if we're BFFs or whatever, but I'm into it, Paul. You are a powerful person. That was like superhero stuff. I like it. So we were having fun, you know. The fun stopped. They start taking people out of the room. They're going upstairs. I find out I have 2 felonies against me. Chances are pretty good I'm going upstairs. I'm afraid to call my parents to tell them. Later they yelled at me for that. I was like, you guys, every coming out day, you guys wait for me to call you and tell you that I'm gay. And now I'm gonna call you and go, Mom and Dad, first of all, I'm still not gay. But I did get arrested for it. So I did not call my parents. So they're gonna hang on to me for a while. They put me in a different room, and then a cop comes in with a clipboard and he starts reading off names. And every person, as he reads off their name, they stand up and they walk out into the hallway and they take off all their clothes. And they spread their legs. And they bend over and they move things out of the way. And a cop with a flashlight takes a very thorough look at them. Now, I am a person who doesn't take his clothes off, like ever. We're just getting over a heat wave, and I'm wearing 2 shirts and long pants. And this is as close to naked as any of you have seen me. I am not happy about this. This is how anti-nude I am. When my daughter was 3, I realized that I was staying in hotels and not taking her in the pool because of my own issues. And I was like, that's not right. I want to be a good dad. So I took my shirt off in public and picked my daughter up. And my daughter had never seen her own father without his shirt on. And her eyes got this big. And as we stepped in the pool, she said out loud, "Ha! Men have nipples." So I'm not happy about what's going on in the hallway. And the cop reading the names sees that I'm uncomfortable. He sees that I'm miserable, and so he keeps reading each name and looking at me, waiting until it's my turn. Until finally I'm the only person in the room. And he says, "One name left on the list, buddy." And I went, "Oh no." And he says, "Ramon Vasquez?" And I went, Did I mention I laugh in conversation? He says, "What's so funny?" I said, "I'm not Ramon Vasquez. Do I look like Ramon Vasquez?" Showed him my bracelet. "Look, not Ramon Vasquez," says right there very clearly. He says, "Sit down. I'll be back." Like, he really wanted me naked at that point. It was flattering. He leaves the room. I am so relieved for this temporary reprieve. I'm drumming on the metal bench. And then I hear, "Hey, shut up, man." And I was like, "What?" And I look under the bench. I was like, "Ramon!" Oh my God, dude. You were just saved from the most heinous indignities, sir. Stay under there forever. You're good. This is not a friendly place to Ramones. So I got out of there. And then a church. My friend's mom is a minister, and she collected the money from her church to pay my bail. And they came and got me. I was like, "I'm still an atheist, but I appreciate this." She took me to get a veggie burger and then straight home. That's what I wanted. Give me a veggie burger and take me home. I go home and I've got all these messages on my answering machine, and they're all from my parents. Because that reporter had run a story. Keith Lowell Jensen, gay, of San Francisco. I love that the only part they got right was my name. E-N, not O-N, E-I, not I-E. I mean, they nailed it, which never happens. Just like, oh, great. No, Mom and Dad, I do not live in San Francisco. I'm trying to remember, did I tell you guys about the time I carried a gun into the Chicago International O'Hare Airport? No, I never told you guys about that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that happened. You know that thing at the airport they play over and over again that tells you not to carry other people's bags? Oh, they mean it. Yeah, that's for real. I was working for Spike and Mike's Animation Festival, and we were late getting out of the show in Chicago. And my boss was Mike, not Mike of Spike and Mike, but a guy named Mike. Let's say Mike Sharp. That's not actually his name, but I'm trying to protect him. It's almost his name, because I'm not trying to protect him that much. So Mike Sharp says, Keith, we're late. I'm going to return the rental cars. You grab both of our bags and run for the gate. I said, sure thing. And I ran and I threw his bag on the thing and it went through the x-ray. And the lady said, there appears to be a gun in your bag. And I said, oh, we're entertainers. I'm sure it's a prop. Why don't you just open it up? I think there's a plastic alligator in there too. You know, it's all fake. She goes, it looks pretty real. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Why don't I grab the guy whose bag it is? I'll be right back. And she says, you can't leave. And I said, it'll just take a minute. And I left. Probably a good time to mention this was pre-9/11. But still a big deal. There's still federal presence at airports, especially International Airport, and they all get a report that someone with a gun in their bag is now loose in the airport. So people with suits are running everywhere, and I see it. I'm like, I wonder what's going on. I still haven't found Mike, but a guy in a suit is now walking perfectly in pace with me and looking at me. So I say, can I help you? And he goes, are you Sharp? And he says, are you Mike Sharp? And I said, oh, yeah, I am the guy with the gun in the bag. Boom! I'm on the ground hard. People with suits mob all around me. They pick me up, they carry me back to where the gun is now sitting out. And oh my God, is it a real gun. It is a very real gun. It had been stuffed in one of Mike's Doc Martens. I was like, oh, what is this? So I said, listen, the bag belongs to a guy named Mike, and this cop gets in my face and goes, oh, no. Don't try to pawn this off on someone else, buddy. You're going down. And I was like, okay, but don't you want that guy too, you know? And she's like, oh no, you're in deep, buddy. You're going down. And I'm like, this sounds like a noir film. Like, I felt like maybe I had to match her patter in order to get anything done. So I was like, I know, I'm going down, but I'm ready to sing. I'll give you the whole gang, you know? Finally, another cop comes and interrupts this little play we were putting on. What's the guy's name? And I tell him Mike's name and what Mike looks like. And next thing you know, I see them bringing Mike over in handcuffs, and he's mouthing the words over and over again, I'm so sorry. They march him over. He explains to me that the animation festival gave him a budget for hiring private security to walk us to the bank at the end of each night with the receipts. And he realized he could put that money in his pocket if he carried his gun and just walked himself to the bank every night with the receipts. I've never had a lawyer. I've dealt with lawyers, but I've never had a lawyer. Like, I'll call my lawyer. I have a friend named Brett who'll pretend he's my lawyer. We have a queue. When he answers the phone, if I go, Wilson, he knows to pretend he's my lawyer. He'll yell back, Jensen, and I'll be like, hey, I'm at Starbucks. They're trying to charge me for a coffee refill. He's like, they're what? Haven't they ever heard of Starbucks versus Monroe, 1992? We're gonna nail him to the wall, Jensen. He's always nailing people to the wall. I'll give you his number if you want a fake lawyer. I thought that'd be cool to have a real lawyer. Mike used his one phone call to call his lawyer. He said, my lawyer's sure that he'll get us out of here in no time. I called my parents. What's funny is they were gonna let me go once they had Mike, but then they ran my record. And then they asked me, are you a member of a gang? And I'm like, are they thinking about Paul? Like, not that I know of. They said something called the RCYB. I was like, oh, the Revolutionary Communist Youth Brigade. Yeah, they're friends. I am not a communist. I let them stay at my house and I debated with them all night. Now that I'm a little older, they were mostly right, but we're just friends. You know? I said, no, I am not, in fact, a member of that gang. And they said, well, you have affiliations with this gang, so we have to keep you overnight. I was like, ah. They're not allowed to list you as a communist anymore. So they just list you as a member of a gang called the Communists. There's always a way around everything. But that was the best part about calling my parents. It's like, remember when I got arrested for being gay even though I'm not? Where do you hear this one? My favorite part of being in jail is always when someone says to you, what are you in for? It just feels so Hollywood, doesn't it? What are you in for? What they got you for? You know? I like asking it. I like being asked it. But they kept me with Mike because we were terrorists. You know, we needed to be separated from the general population. So I just kept all night saying to him, hey, what are you in for? And he kept saying, shut up. So when they're letting us out, we're in this big line to get our stuff back, half of which they stole, no lie. And I got this guy in front of me, and he's waiting to get his stuff back. I tap him on the shoulder. I say, hey, what are you in for? I got to ask my question. He turns around and he says, driving taxi without license. I was like, oh man, they arrest you for that? He says, many, many times. Driving taxi without license. I was like, oh, okay. I brought a gun into the airport, you know, and I'm waiting for him to be shocked, you know, whoa, like impressed, you know. And he goes, you need to get back to airport? And I was all, yeah. He says, my taxi is outside. And that is, swear to God, how we got back to the airport. All right, I got pulled over. I heard someone yell, pull over, which isn't normally the way you get pulled over. So I looked over my left shoulder. I had to look all the way back to see them because I was on my bicycle. And they yelled it again, pull over. And sure enough, the person yelling it is a real actual police officer. They had the mustache and everything, legit. But the reason they're yelling, pull over, is that they too are on a bicycle. I'm a comedian, I like to have fun. I thought about going, oh, no. I know how this works. You have to go, wee. But then I remembered about cops having a great sense of humor. You know? So I skipped that and I went ahead and I pulled over. And the cop pulled his bike right behind me, just like he would do if we were in cars, with his little headlight shining on the back of my head. And he made me wait there a really long time. Now, I was on my way to a comedy show. I thought, this is cool, I'm in my own hometown, I can ride my bike to the comedy show, and now I'm sitting there with some guy shining his headlight on the back of my head, waiting, and thinking, what am I waiting for? Because if we were in cars, I would assume I was waiting while he ran my license plate through his dashboard computer. But we were on bicycles. So I had no license plates. And he had no dashboard. It's infuriating. And then I look and I see another bike cop come whipping around the corner. Very thin guy, we'll call him Officer Sunglasses. As he pulls up next to Officer Mustache, I thought, that's it. Back up. Because look at me. When I walked out on stage, the first thing you thought was, I would need some backup to tackle with that fella. He looks like one of those vegans. So now he's got his backup. The two of them do this awesome move. I mean, just badass. They both throw down their left foot and then synchronized, perfectly synchronized, swing their right foot over their bikes. It was everything I could do not to applaud. I was like, that was so cool! I know they learned that watching Chips. That was awesome. I love the idea that that's how bike cops bond. They watch Chips together and they're like, ooh, we should rehearse that. That was cool. I'm gonna get some glasses like that. You know. So they make their way up towards my bike, and the officer's sunglasses stops a few feet shy of me, puts his legs apart, and fixes me with a look that says we may soon have a failure to communicate. An Officer Mustache comes right up to me. And he says, "You know why I pulled you over?" Now, don't ever answer that. Because that's how they try to get you to confess. And maybe confess stuff that they didn't even know about. "You know why I pulled you over? Was it the drugs in my pocket? I didn't think you could see those." What was it? I don't know. I said, no, man, I don't know. I don't know why you pulled me over, and I'm laughing. Started laughing. Did I mention I do that? In times of confrontation, I tend to laugh. And he says, "Something amusing?" Well, I learned a long time ago that when an authority figure hears me laughing and they ask if something's amusing, I can't tell them the truth. I can't say, no, this is actually respect. See, I always think I'm a nervous laugher, and so this is actually me being afraid of you. It doesn't work. So, I have to think of something quick that's amusing. He says, "Find something amusing?" I said, "Well, just say we're both on bikes, right?" That's kind of funny. You know, it's like we're a couple of kids playing traffic stop. He doesn't like that. Thank you. I'm glad you did. He says, "I assure you, this is perfectly serious." And I can hear his teeth breaking and I said, "Hey, calm down." "Okay, you guys know? I didn't know. I thought I was going to teach you guys. You don't do that. You don't tell a cop to calm down. I had no idea. Any of you that didn't just gasp in horror, listen up. This is where you get your ticket's worth. Yeah, you don't tell a cop to calm down. It has the opposite of its desired effect." He says, "I assure you I'm perfectly calm." He says, "You were riding your bike on the K Street pedestrian mall." I was like, oh. Thinking, thank God you were there. I don't think I was. I think I was just crossing it. He says, "Do you have a driver's license?" To which I reply, "I'm on a bicycle. I don't need a driver's license." Because I'm already past making friends at this point. He says, "Do you have a form of identification?" I said, "Yes, I do." And I, handed him my driver's license. He looks at it like it's amazing. And he says, "You have any warrants for your arrest, Mr. Jensen?" I start laughing again. And it's not the nervousness now. I'm like, "Do you have any warrants?" "No, I don't have any warrants, man. You busted me for riding my bike." This is not going to be your big bust. You're not going to end up in the documentary about the Zodiac killer. We knew we had him when he rode his bicycle on the K Street pedestrian mall. We moved in. Waited for my backup. Coolly asked him if he knew what I was pulling him over for. Is it because I'm the Zodiac killer? I don't know what kind of fantasy he had concocted. I was like, "No, man, I don't have any warrants for my arrest." He says, "We'll see." Then he goes back to his bike to call in my license number on his radio, find out if I have any warrants. His buddy in the sunglasses was still just standing there staring at me. And I started thinking, all right, I'm gonna at least, I'm late for my comedy show. I'm gonna at least get a good Facebook post out of this. I start composing tweets in my head. Then I think, man, I'd love to get this on Instagram too. Maybe I could sneak a picture. So I slide my phone out of my pocket, and I take a picture of Officer Mustache. And it goes well, uneventful. I give it a cute check. It looks good. Then I turn to Sunglasses, and I go ahead and snap one of him too real quick. To which he says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was just taking a couple pictures to remember our special time together. He says, you can't do that. I was like, oh, okay, noted for future reference. Because I just did. It's too late to undo it. He says, give me the phone. I was like, oh, no, man. You pulled me over for riding my bicycle. No, I'm not a lawyer. I've never gone to law school. And these are the words that came out of my mouth. You just pulled me over for riding my bike. This is not a take my phoneable offense. You hear that one standing up in court, right? Your Honor, this was clearly not a take your phoneable offense. That's what I said. He says, give me the phone. I said, I'm not gonna. And I go to put it back in my pocket, and he reaches out and he grabs my wrist. And I yanked my arm away without thinking. Yeah, where's your ooh now? You don't do that either. Because you find out how strong the skinny cop is. Turns out quite. And he slams me on the ground, gets on top of me. I got a knee between my shoulder blades. My nose is bleeding. And Mustache goes ballistic. He goes full Barney Fife. He comes running over like doing a jig. Like, he's fighting. Like, brain short-circuiting. He's not helping in any way. Just like, he's fighting. As this is all happening, this is on the part of K Street where like there's a lot of hotels and weddings and receptions happen. This photographer just happens to come walking down L Street and then comes around the corner and sees this, and he's like, oh my God, a Pulitzer! And he runs over and he starts snapping pictures. And he's not shy, he's getting right up in my face, and I noticed the cops didn't mind him taking their picture at all. They didn't ask for his phone, they were posing. They were like, get him with his eyes open, Like hunters with a fresh deer. We're gonna hang this one back at the station. So, I look up at the photographer and I say, my name is Keith Lowell Jensen, and I would really love to have these photographs. Not because I'm thinking of using them in court or anything, but because I'm a comedian and headshots are expensive. And if that picture was on the poster for tonight, we would have filled this place a lot faster. Imagine my face with the blood and the cop behind me smiling, like you'd be like, I need to know what this is about. Cop picks me up, and that's when Mustache gets in my face, and he says, boy, are you dumb. I'm like, that's hurtful. He says, you're a big dummy. You're a big dumb. Now it's starting to sound kind of wholesome. I was like, these are his go-to insults. This is cute. He says, I was going to let you go with a warning. Yeah, but now you're under arrest. You're going to jail. How do you like that? You're under arrest, and you're going to jail. I was like, I understand. But he said it one more time, just for good measure. So I repeated it to him. I'm under arrest and I'm going to jail. Can I ask one question? He said, sure, what? And I said, how? It's fair, right? Because I've been arrested before, but never by a dude on a bicycle. I don't know how do I get on the handlebars? Are we gonna act out a scene from E.T.? What are we doing here? Don't make me run behind you, please. I'm not in good shape. We could ride bikes. That's fun, let's go ride bikes. He says, we'll call a car. To which I said, oh my God, you have to call the car cops? That must be so humiliating for you. He stomps back to his radio and he calls the car cops, who drive their car right down the middle of the K Street pedestrian mall that I had so soiled with my bicycle tires. They park right on top of the light rail tracks. They come over, they're all, is that the guy? And I'm like, yeah, the bloody one in the handcuffs, that's the guy. I said, what are you gonna do with my bike? They said, we'll put it in the trunk. I said, well, you should probably take a look at my bike. because I rode one of those big stretch dyno beach cruisers with the giant handlebars and the Springer forks because I was cool. And they look at it and they go, yeah, we're gonna have to call a truck. So then the car cops who'd been called by the bike cops called the truck cops, and then the truck cops came and drove right down the middle of the K Street pedestrian mall, parked on top of the light rail tracks behind the cop car. I've now started a parade. They come out and get my bike. I'm like, hey, bike, when you get to bike jail, pick the biggest bike there and just punch him in the face. Thought I sounded cool. Truck drives off, the car cops put me in the car, and the two bike cops run over to their bikes, and they get in position like they're about to do the Tour de France. And the car cops look at them funny and get in the car, and as they shut the door, I heard the greatest line of the night. The driver turns back to me and he goes, hey man, don't you just hate bike cops? Like, I do! Oh my God. I said, I don't normally like you guys either, but my enemy's enemy is my friend. We're cool. The passenger cop says, you see what they're doing? I was wondering about that. He said, they're gonna race us to the jail. That's their big thrill in life. I was like, have they tried sex? This is a sad, lonely existence. The driver laughs. He says, well, you want to drive around a little bit? Keep them waiting? Mess with them? And I was like, yeah. Like, I had plans tonight, but I think they're canceled. Let's do that. That sounds good, man. You want to take me to a comedy show? Did I mention I was on my way to a comedy show? Well, it was cool. We had a good time. We drove up to Broadway, saw the historic cemetery. They had never seen it before. We saw the Christmas tree had gone up at the Capitol. It was a fun time, you know. We stopped by the California Museum, and they were having a Charles Schulz exhibit. You guys like Snoopy, right? We're sitting there looking in the window at all the Snoopy and Charlie Brown stuff, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger walks right in front of our car and goes into the building, and I turned to the two cops and I said, this is the best night of my life. Like, you guys are awesome. So then we went back, straight back. We stopped for frozen yogurt, but only one topping. Gotta draw the line. We get back to the jail, and sure enough, there's the two bike cops. They're leaning against the wall waiting. They look at their imaginary watches. And the driver turns to me and he goes, listen, kid, I want to give you some advice. He says, when you get out there, calm down. I'm like, oh, you can say it to us, huh? He says, seriously, these guys ruined your night already. They could ruin your month. They could ruin living in Sacramento. Like, they hold all the cards. And so it's in your best bet to just play along, get this over with quickly. I said, okay. It's good advice. So they let me out. I walk up to the bike cops. I immediately apologize. Say, guys, I'm sorry. I lost my temper out back there, you know, when they beat me up. So I lost my temper. My night didn't go the way I expected. I'm going to cooperate now. And Mustache looks at me and he goes, good. I hope we can be friends. And I went, yeah. Nervous. And then he goes, all right, let's get you processed. And I was like, wait, you're still arresting me? I'm like, you are not being a good friend. This is not what friends do. You don't even know my safe word. You know, he's like, come on, I'm yelling, rutabaga! It's rutabaga, I'm saying it. Brings me in, he processes me. I'm trying to get out of there. I don't want to stay, you know. So he says, you got any medical conditions we should know about? I was like, bingo, that's my ticket out. I said, yes, I have something called ulcerative colitis. That's true, I do. He says, well, what's that mean? I said, it means that if I don't go home and get my drugs tonight, poop and blood everywhere. It's bad. That's an exaggeration. He goes, all right, we'll give you a yellow bracelet. It's like, oh, why didn't my doctor think of that? Thank you. Sure, that will help. The bike cops took me and handed me over to the largest man I'd ever seen in my life up to that point. They handed me over to the jail cop. He looked like the boss battle at the end of a video game. He was like the big goblin guarding the inner sanctum of the jail, and I needed to get past him to get to my cell. They hand me to this guy, and I'm like, oh my God. And he walks me into where the cells are, and I've been in there before. I was like, I can take it from here, you know. I start going back to where the normal cells are, but I walk past the drunk tank, and he goes, right here, buddy. And I was like, oh, wait, there's a misunderstanding. I'm not drunk. I'm the guy on the bicycle. He goes, yeah, but you got that yellow bracelet, so this is where you go. I was like, ah! So that backfired. So they're gonna put me in the drunk tank. That was an experience I'd never had through my myriad times in jail. I opened the door to the drunk tank. The drunk tank has no nice metal benches to sit on. It's just got a low sidewalk around the perimeter of the drunk tank with a soft curb so we're not, acting out. He puts me in the middle of the room, and then he says, sit down. In this cell, we sit. And I could tell it was his line, Because as he said it, he backs out of the cell. It was really cool. Like that. In this cell, we sit. So I look for a place to sit. I see some guy, and he's wearing plaid. Hat, shirt, shorts, shoes, but all different colors and sizes. None of it matched. I was like, that's a character. I'm going to get a story out of this at least. Make it a work trip, So I go over, I sit next to the dude, I was all, what's up? And he goes, what time is it? And I thought about it, what time I was heading to the comedy show that I was trying to perform that night. Thought about how long we spent driving around, how long it took to process me, and I said, I'm guessing it's around 9:30. And he goes, oh. And I said, what's the matter, man? And he goes, oh, my old lady. If I don't get out of here by midnight, my old lady is gonna sell my rims. And I want to relate to my fellow human, so I went, oh, why did they do that? Why? What is it with old ladies and rims? I can't tell you how many times I've had a perfectly good set of rims, and then the old lady comes along and bye-bye rims. Stop it, old ladies. Let a man have some rims. He scoots far away from me. Not buying my outrage. But just then, the door to the drunk tank opens again, and the largest man I had seen is back, but he's no longer the largest man I've seen because he has with him the new largest man I've ever seen in my life. And this man has no shirt on. He's just glistening with sweat. He looks like a bodybuilder. He's a beautiful, angry man. And the cop puts him in the middle of the cell, and he says his line, sit down. In this cell, we sit. And as he starts doing his cool backwards walk, the guy goes, no! And I went, ooh! I didn't know you could say that. And the cop is confused. He's never heard this before. Probably ever, And he goes, sit down. In this cell, we sit. Think maybe just repeating it will work. And the guy says, I can't sit, I'm drunk. And I see the two of them starting to huff up the way people do before a fight, and I don't want that to happen. And I say, officer, sir, maybe you should listen. You don't know where he's at in his spin cycle. It could be bad, it could be messy for all of us. Maybe let him stand. Cop says, you shut up. Turns back to the guy, he says, sit down now. The guy says, no. Cop puts one hand on his nightstick, he puts the other hand on his taser. The big dude starts flexing his booby muscles the way really large men can do. And the rest of us move to the far corners of the room. Because if these two men fight, we're getting hurt. If these two men fight, the building is getting hurt. This is like the final scene in a Marvel movie type scenario, and I don't want to be an extra in this film. But as a testament to how big and scary this guy is, the cop looks him up and down, and then to all of our amazement goes, yeah, okay, and starts backing out, and we all start applauding. Cheering, which the cop is not loving. The door shuts, we're all, woo! And Rims immediately jumps on the dude. He's like, hey, what time is it? And the guy looks at him and says, 2:00 in the morning. And Rims starts sobbing. Just starts bawling, just tears streaming down his face. This is a man who is very attached to his rims. And I feel for my friend, you know? So I scoot over next to him and I go, listen, buddy, I had a comedy show that was gonna start at 8. And I was bicycling there with plenty of time. You know? And I tell him the whole story. I tell him about the Charles Schultz exhibit. He likes Snoopy too. We're bonding. He's starting to calm down. I said, at this point, it's 10:15 at the latest. I bet you get out of here on time. You seem sober to me. And then I hear, the hell did you just say? A big man has been standing here the whole time. And I said, he says, you telling me what time it is? Did I mention I'm a nervous laugher? It's a thing I do when I'm in confrontation. I laugh. He says, something funny? And I said, well, just that you said I'm telling you what time it is, which is an expression, but I'm literally telling you what time it is. Just a little wordplay. That was all clever, you know? To which he says, oh, looks like we got ourselves a comedian. And I start roaring. Now just belly laughs. I'm just laughing really hard. And he says, now what's so funny? And I said, I am in fact a comedian telling you what time it is. And that's how I'm gonna die has a poetic justice to it that I've made my peace with. Do with me as you will, sir. And he looks down at me and he thinks for a minute and he says, ha! That ha was the most beautiful sound I've ever heard in my life. Your guys' laughter tonight was a salve for my tortured soul, as it always is. But that ha was salvation. It meant I wasn't gonna die that night. And then big man sits down. I got him to do what the cop couldn't get him to do. The power of comedy. He sits down. Yeah. He puts his arm around me, and Rim scoots in close to us too. We're like a family now. And he looks out over all the dudes in the cell and he goes, scoot on in, everybody. Mr. Funny Man here is gonna tell us some jokes. And I spend the next hour of my life telling jokes to drunk people, which is awesome because that's all I wanted to do with my evening to begin with. I've known a few public defenders in my time. And on this particular incident with the bike cops, I got out and I went to the public defender, and she was cool. She kept calling everything chicken crap. She's all, this is chicken crap, this is chicken crap. I read the officer's report, chicken crap. I was like, yeah. Let's not put up with that chicken crap. What are we gonna do about it, you know? She says, look, I'm gonna go talk to the judge. You're gonna be out of here, all charges dropped, it'll be no problem. I was like, you think so? She says, yeah. I said, well, can you tell me something first? She says, sure, what's that? I said, can you tell me what I was arrested for? I don't even know what I was arrested for. You know? She said, well, they said their first concern why they took your phone was that they heard that there were phones that could fire a bullet. And I was like, oh, I don't have that app. Never downloaded. I'm gonna be honest with you, if I saw that in the App Store, I'd be putting that on my phone. There are times when that could come in handy. But no, I don't have that. I said, okay, so that's why they took my phone. And then they arrested me for what? She said, for resisting arrest. And I said, all right. And? She said, no, that's it. I said, well, how can that be? She said, well, that was the charge. The charge is resisting arrest. I said, they arrested me for resisting arrest and nothing else. She said, yeah. I said, so they arrested me for resisting being arrested, for resisting being arrested, for resisting. I said, what is that, the Mobius strip of arrests? She laughed. She said, that's funny, Mobius strip. Haha. Should I say that to the judge? I was like, I don't think so. I never went to law school. Maybe tell him it wasn't a take my phoneable offense. I don't. Say something about habeas corpus? This doesn't sound like where you should be practicing your tight five. Why don't we handle my case and then I'll take you out to some open mics. She says, no. I know this judge. He's a pisser. He'll love it. I was like, well, if he's a pisser, go ahead. She goes in, she tells the judge, my joke comes out, all charges dropped, you're free to go. To the public defenders. I saw the bicycle cops again. We're a small town. I was back on K Street going to the Crest Theater to pick my wife up from working as the box office manager, and I saw the bicycle cops out shaking down homeless people for drinking in public. I was like, no, they're drinking at home. They don't have a not public. When they go into not public, you kick them back out into public. This is a no-win situation, and everyone deserves to have a beer once in a while, especially someone who's dealing with that. Come on, have a heart, cops, Just not cool at all. So I go in and I tell my wife, let's go out the back door so we can warn the guys in the alley that the cops are shaking down people drinking. So she says, all right, let's do that, because she's cool too. So we go out into the alley behind the Crest, and I see the usual crowd of guys that are out there drinking with one new guy, kind of in a nice coat, looked a little more clean cut than the rest. And I walked up, they were all drinking. I said, guys, put your bottles away. The cops are shaking down people for having open containers in public. And they were all, oh, thanks, bro. And they all start putting them away and getting up. And the nice dressed guy looks at me and he goes, hey man, you're a comedian. And I was all, yeah, because it's always flattering to be recognized, especially in front of my wife. I was like, oh, you see me over at the Punchline or the Comedy Spot, And the guy goes, no, man. I was in jail with you. You're hilarious, bro. So proud she was. Do me a favor, please. Don't call the cops on each other. Thank you. Good night.